We're all live. Hello YouTube, Caboose here with the Florida Airsoft Group and a special guest, the Jake PB. Say what's up.
Hello, everyone.
How's it going, guys?
Thanks for having me as the guest tonight.
Oh, no problem,
No,
Eddie.
thank you for approaching us.
Yeah, I just kind of invited myself in here.
Yeah.
So to get the show kicked off, um, just talk about yourself, Jake. Like where you've been, how'd you get in the airsoft, that kind of thing.
Okay. I'm from Seattle, Washington originally. My dad is military, so we bounced around a lot, moved all over the country. Where I reside now is in South Georgia. I have been playing paintball. I've just now retired from the sport of paintball, but I was playing paintball professionally for 12 years. Um, of those 12 years, I was playing for Tampa Bay Damage for 3 years, so I was able to have an awesome experience working with Die Precision under sponsorship. And then my buddy Josh, who was supposed to be here tonight but wasn't able to make it, actually got me into Airsoft because of college. He introduced me to Airsoft, and until he introduced me to Airsoft, I had no clue what the sport was about. I was always a diehard paintballer. I never thought I was going to get into Airsoft. And the minute he took me to Battalion Airsoft in Jacksonville, I instantly fell in love with the sport. I actually like Airsoft a lot more than I do paintball. Go on record for that because I think the sport, it's like for me, the sport is more realistic. The guns are more realistic. I think the atmosphere is more realistic. It's more like a military simulation operation. And I love how the guns function in Airsoft. Like, they're so customizable. You can have pretty much whatever you want. And paintball, that's not to say it can't happen in paintball, but depending on what style of gun you get in paintball, you might be kind of limited to what it can look like as far as customizing it.
Mm-hmm.
Like the guns I was using in paintball, it would be pointless to try to put sights or scopes on them because in speedball, that really wouldn't have done me much good.
Good for once. That's about it.
I'm still pretty new to the sport, to Airsoft. I've only been playing it for about 2 months now. I have a G&G Firehawk. That's what I use for close quarters. I have a GNP Masada, and I also have a WE Tactical Engraved Claw. And maybe I'll get Anthony to send you some pictures of it, but it's engraved, hand engraved. It's pretty nice.
Actually, I think you might be able to post the photos up on here while we're doing this.
Oh, okay. Let me see what I can do. Let's see. If I enter it in the chat message, it should. Let's see. Right. Maybe something like that.
Like tag link or something like that.
Oh, that's blank page. I don't want to do that.
Okay, so you guys had a good week?
You go first.
Jake?
I'm sorry, did you say something? My apologies.
Yeah, how was your week?
Oh, my week is fabulous. I just got finished with finals for my English class and for my computer class. I've got finals in my psychology class, and then I'm done. I'm going to go to Atlanta to SAS Black Ops on Friday and go play Airsoft there.
Nice. Yeah, my weekend, all the way up until about halfway through. Well, not
Yeah,
weekend.
I've had a good week.
No, go ahead. Alright, other than yesterday, my week was doing pretty good. I went to Fierce City, tested out a new gun, uh, started getting some new recruits from a team, and all's good. And what about you, Florida?
Well, I think my weekend was definitely the best. With some event, which was awesome. And if you guys are of age, I highly recommend use mid-caps only for Milsim events. But I think that varies on where you play. I don't know about that yet. There's this one part where there's a huge FOB be in the middle of the base. And I mean, field, Deviate Airsoft. If you guys live in Florida, try to make it out there. And we were defending the fob. I was inside Commander and start hearing everyone to the walls, everyone to the walls. Like they have trenches around the base. So the whole enemy team is charging us. We got BBs going everywhere. I was talking to my friend, like right next to me, but I was like yelling at him. Thunder bees going off every second. It was just smoke. It was really fun. Comms were going crazy. I loved it. I highly recommend you guys play Milsim. It's very, very fun.
Hey, Fleur, just so you know, your mic was going a little iffy there through that little bit.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, but we get the gist.
Is it better now?
It's about
It's
the same.
still kind of metallic.
Yeah. So, but Jake, have you been to a Milsim game?
Not for Airsoft. For paintball I have, but I have yet to attend a Milsim Airsoft event. I'm looking forward to that in 2015.
Yeah, some of the best Milsim that you can, Milsim games that you can get are generally hosted by I know I'm name dropping here, but American Milsim, they host some pretty good games. I haven't attended one personally, but I do know some people in person that has gone, and they said it's just some of the best experience that you can get.
Right. I want to try all formats of Airsoft, to see which one I like better. I mean, currently I like to play close quarters combat at indoor arenas because that reminds me a lot about speedball from paintball. But at the same time, I don't want to be limited or selective to just one style of play, if you will.
Yeah, that's actually one thing I like about American Milsim games. They'll generally host games at fields where it's a mixture of, field and mountain. In some cases, you can go underground, and it's
Oh,
really cool.
very cool. Oh, that sounds very interesting. I'll have to have Anthony text me a link or something like that to their
Yeah,
website so I can look into it.
I'll send you a few videos from some of
Thank
their
you.
most
I
recent
appreciate that.
events.
That sounds fun. I would love to go
Uh,
underground.
yeah, one thing I would recommend is try
Yeah.
your best to go for a 2-day Milsim event. A 1-day Milsim event is fun, but staying there overnight at the field or the hotel or whatever, then talking with the I guess you could say enemy forces, talking about the battles that day and what was their point of view during a certain time frame. It's just something completely different, and
Right.
it's also a good way to really meet a lot of people at the same time.
Right, I think I see what you mean. Well, and I think it's kind of like in coming from paintball, you have 2-day format and you have 4-day format for tournaments. And when you only have 1-day formats for tournaments, it's very rushed. Everything is very crammed in. It has to be very quick. Like there's not a lot of time for 1-day formats in paintball. When it comes to race to 2, though, it's still very crammed and very not a lot of time. But when it's race to 4, it's more spread out. There's more time in between games. You can actually have time to eat or drink or get the necessities. Unlike in race to 2 format, you don't get to really do a whole lot of anything else other than just stand in the heat and sweat. That's what I don't. I don't want to badmouth the sport of paintball because it was good to me for years and years and years, and I was able to take my sponsorships from paintball into airsoft. But I like airsoft as a whole a lot better than paintball. I think airsoft is going to take over paintball. I think it's going to replace it. The cost, for instance, we could talk about the cost of the guns. The average high-end tournament paintball gun would run you about $1,000 to $1,500,
And
and your
that's
average tournament grade airsoft gun might run you for a reasonable figure. I would say about $300 or $400 for a reasonable
mhm.
figure. Now, sure, there's
And
always
that
like
comes with a battery and charger.
yeah, exactly. With paintball, you would have had to buy that separately. And And then for paintball, you would have had to have a loader and a tank, and so it's like, as you can see, at least with an AEG, it already comes with a magazine or two or three, depending on what brand, depending on what model. When I bought my Masada, Arrow got me about 6 PMags for it, so that was a pretty legit deal. But the cost for airsoft is so much cheaper. I mean, when I would play paintball, even just for practice, for team practice, it would cost about $300 per practice, right? For airsoft,
Mm,
for the entire team to practice, cost us about $60, and that's including everyone's entry, and then about lunch and gas to get to Atlanta. So as you can see, there's significant difference in price because with me being sponsored, I don't have to pay for green gas or electronics or BBs. I don't even have to pay for gas because they give me a corporate card for that. So it's like whenever I travel on the company's dime, which is pretty nice. I'm
mm.
glad I didn't burn any bridges in paintball.
Yeah, and even if you were to pay for the BBs, if you take a look for the same amount of BBs to paintballs, the
Yeah.
price difference is just massive.
Oh
A,
God, yes.
a
Oh
mid,
God, yes.
uh,
Good.
what is it? Mid bottle of paintball, well, paintballs is what, like $20 or 20, $30 or something like that?
For like Walmart quality, it'd be about 30 or 40, but if you want like tournament grade quality, you'd be looking at about 70 to 100. And that's 2,000 rounds.
Yeah,
With BBs, you can get like 5,000 or 4,000 or whatever count, basically.
for a third of the
Um,
price,
yeah, exactly.
and they're still tournament ready.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, it's just so amazing how close airsoft and paintball are together, but when you
But
start
they're
to
so
look,
far away. Yeah, in
yeah,
some instances, they're so far away. It's like, and I remember when paintballs used to cost $150 for a case. So the price for paintballs has come down over the years, but it's still too expensive for most average Americans to play. I'm not trying to say that to sound snooty or like I'm some kind of rich guy or anything like
yeah,
that, but for the average American, a $1,500 paintball gun is just too expensive.
way too expensive.
I think most parents could afford a $150 airsoft gun
Yeah.
from Walmart for their kid for Christmas more so than they could a $400 paintball gun.
Yeah, and that's another funny thing too. Even at $150 for airsoft, you can pick up a G&G Raider
Yeah,
with battery and charger, put
yeah,
in another 10 to 15 bucks, you got yourself some BBs. You can go into a shooting event and still do decent.
exactly. Well, I'm not gonna lie. My internals on my Firehawk were completely stripped out. I took out everything and it's still the G&G shell, but the internals I'm not gonna I for sponsorship reasons, I'm not going to say what's in there, but I did modify the gears and the pistons, so it has been modified. I don't have anything against its stock. It's a great gun stock,
Hmm.
but I always have to have that little extra edge. I've always got to be. I was the kind of guy when I played professional paintball. I had spool screw crystals on my gun, hand set spool screw crystals on my gun, because I always had that little extra bling or that little extra touch to make myself stand out from the rest. And I think I'm going to continue that with airsoft. Like for instance, my engraved Glock. There's only 2,000 of those Glocks in the world that were hand engraved. It's not like you're just going to walk up to an average day of play and see an engraved Glock right there in front of you. So I don't let it out of my sight. But
This is my gun. Mine.
exactly. I mean, I don't mind if I wouldn't mind if people, because I have had people ask me to shoot it, and I'll let them shoot it and play with it. But I keep my eye on them at the same time to make sure they're not running out the door with it.
Yeah. Yeah, even with me, like with my G&G Raider L that I got when I first started playing a little over a year ago, it, although yes, it is a cheap airsoft gun that's still good, I'm still very, very like panicky when someone else uses it. It's like, what are you doing?
Well,
Step
yeah, yeah,
away.
exactly, because you don't want them to break it. It's understandable.
Yeah, but in your situation, it's a lot worse because it's engraved. So, but Actually, I'm glad we got into the topic of airsoft and paintball guns. Have
Good.
you seen the Tippmann M4 that's coming to America?
Yes. Yes, I got to use that about 3 weeks ago when I was in Atlanta last time. Errol had one in the shop, and again, I'm not going to say what kind of special parts he was putting on it because A, I don't know, and then B, I wouldn't want to display that to the general public.
Hmm.
But he had the Tippmann body, and he had a type bore barrel on it, and then he had it all set up for me, and he let me shoot it, and it was running off a high pressure system like a paintball nitrogen tank, or some people call it compressed air. I've always referred to it as nitrogen because when I got into the sport 12 years ago, it was nitrogen, and then I think, I don't know, maybe to make things sound safer, they said it's compressed air, even though it's 70%
Yeah.
nitrogen to a 30% compressed air ratio. But anyways, that's what most people don't understand. Most of the newer players don't understand. But it was using a high pressure air system, and I got to shoot it, and I fell in love with it, and I want it so bad because it's actually made in America. The box says it's assembled in America. The parts are imported probably from Taiwan, like everything else is,
Yeah.
but it's assembled in America.
Man.
But I loved it though. I've seen Tippmann in the past have airsoft pistols and some basic airsoft equipment. And now that I see that Tippmann's getting very serious with making gas blowback rifles, I'm curious to see what other companies in paintball are going to try to start producing airsoft equipment because the market's pretty much set. Like, for instance, Falcon started off as a paintball company, then they branched over to airsoft.
Hmm.
Die Precision was a paintball company. Now they're starting to transition over to airsoft. I think it's going to give it a matter of time. You'll start to see more and more paintball companies transition over to airsoft, and I can't wait to see that because, like, I hope they don't mind. I'm going to drop their name, and they'll probably give me a nasty phone call. But if Planet Eclipse was to come out with an airsoft gun tomorrow, I would be on that like white on rice because they make fabulous paintball guns. And if they were to make an airsoft gun, I would kiss Jack Wood right on the lips.
Yeah, man. Freaking during my first ever 2-day Milsim event, Tippmann was there, and I tested it out with the high pressure air system attached to it, and
Right.
I also fell in love with the doggone thing. It's like, this isn't too bad. How much does it cost straight up? About 450. Well, that's
Well,
not horrible.
that's not horrible because when I had my Chris Vector, I was telling Anthony about this. I traded my Chris Vector in for my Masala. That was it's probably a dumb idea, but anyways, moving on. When I had my Chris Vector, I want to say I paid about $3.99 for it. Bought it from Evike, right?
Hmm.
And I
Yeah,
liked
it
it. Don't
really
get me
was.
wrong, but and I don't want to bash KWA by any means because they make fantastic products. But what
Hmm.
turned me off with gas blowback was that the magazines were about $50 a piece. With an AEG, I can carry 300 rounds with one magazine, and I was able to get P mags for like $10 a piece or something like that through Arrow. So I was able to basically carry. I'm able to carry with the plate carrier I'm using. I can carry 6 magazines on me, right? Total
Hmm.
6 magazines at about 300 bullets per magazine. So we're looking at roughly 2,000 rounds. I'm doing that off the top of my head. With gas blowback, I might have been able to carry 6 magazines. That would have been $600 just in magazines alone.
Hmm.
And then I would have only had about 50 bullets per magazine. So the rate, I think, even though gas blowbacks are cool because they're more realistic and they do have that more realism in their function, AEGs carry more ammo. And I think for practicality, I think AEGs are the way to go for a more practical approach to airsoft because it's nothing like, I mean, I'd rather carry 2,000 bullets instead of 400.
Yeah. And I will admit one thing about gas guns is you got to be dedicated to them because you got to clean them after almost every
After, yeah,
single
yeah,
day of
yeah,
it. It definitely teaches you one thing if you want to get into real steel. Hey, this is a good starting point. It's going to be a hell of a lot cheaper.
yeah, really.
And if you get the KWA LM4, I think it's the LM4, that thing breaks down almost 100% like the real thing. So it's just, it's a great thing. But then you take a look. I want to use this for a Milsim game, and the maximum
Right.
amount of ammo we're allowed to use is 1,500. How much is that going to cost me?
Exactly. Well, I loved it. It was a great gun. Don't get me wrong. It's just I thought for my preference, AEG was more appropriate. And it's kind of awkward because some people look at me awkward on the field. They're like, "Wait, he's got a GNP and a GNG. He's sponsored by Valken. I'm decked out head to toe in Valken gear, but I'm using a GNP. Sometimes I use GNP. When it comes to tournaments, I have to use the GNG. But that's kind of one of those unwritten rules. It's like when I'm just playing for recreation, I kind of use whatever I want when Andy's not looking. He's probably watching this right now. He's going to send me a very nasty email in a few minutes. I love you, Andy. I appreciate the sponsorship.
It's oh yeah, quick thing.
Good.
Quick thing going back real quick to the Tipman M4.
All right.
Something interesting that not a lot of people know of is that Tipman actually approached my local airsoft store and somehow, some way, uh, that actually influenced a big way. And I'm glad that local airsoft stores are able to make, not make, but help these new companies
Yeah.
get into this sport. And I'm very happy for Tipman getting into our sport here.
I'm excited to see what kind of product lines they're going to have in the future. They've definitely caught my attention. I think they've caught the attention of a lot of other airsoft players. And I always try to support the little stores first. I always believe in supporting local business. For instance, I don't have a local airsoft store in Valdosta where I live, but because I'm good friends with Errol and Joe from Georgia Paintball and Airsoft in Kennesaw, Georgia, which is about half hour, 45 minutes from Atlanta, depending on traffic. Anytime I need any sort of equipment related to airsoft, I just go and I see them on a weekend. And it sounds kind of odd to go and drive 4 hours just to go to them, but by the time I pay shipping from like a major retail store, a major airsoft store online, the shipping alone could be $50 or $60. That's about a tank of gas for my SUV.
Mm.
And Errol's got it waiting for me at the store with a warranty, lifetime warranty for me, because it's like with online retailers, they do have good customer service. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think they're going to be able to offer you the service that a physical brick and mortar store can. Because like when my buddy Josh's Glock broke down on him last week, I took it to Errol. Errol had it fixed within about 15 minutes. It was just a blown seal inside his magazine. I wouldn't have been able to do that as quickly with an online store. They would have been able to do it for me, but they would probably had to send it back to the manufacturer, and that would have been like, what, 2 or 3 weeks time, if not more.
Yeah. And with stores like Evike and Airsoft DI and was it Airsplat and all them,
Right.
if not 2 weeks, you're going to be waiting even longer because everybody's sending their guns to them to get
Yeah.
something done. And
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
it's like, all right, do I want to drive a little bit and not be lazy today and go to my local airsoft store and have them fix it right there and then, or or wait 2 weeks to a month?
Yeah, exactly.
So that was a good little chunk of talking there.
Yeah, I hope we haven't run
Already.
anything. I hope we haven't had anything to run out of talking
Yeah.
about, because like we've got so much covered coming from pro paintball to airsoft. I'm trying to think of something we can talk about so airsoft related. Okay, grenades. I love, love, love airsoft grenades compared to paintball grenades. Paintball grenades, I would pull the pin, and they were just kind of like water balloons. They would kind of just squirt out the paint goo. Airsoft grenades, it's like my airsoft grenades, like my tornado grenade. It's shock detonated, so I take it, I gas it up, put some BBs in it, throw it into the room with the 10-year-olds or whatever from the church group, and they all get blown up and killed. And in paintball, if I pulled the pin, the thing would have exploded on me, and then I would have eliminated myself.
Suicide Bombers Paintball
Yeah.
Edition.
You know, I've actually thought about somehow trying to rig up a suicide bomber vest for airsoft. I'm gonna do it. Somehow I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take about 4 or 5 grenades. I'm gonna tape them onto my chest or something like that, onto my chest rig. I'm gonna pull the pins on all of them, and I'm gonna run into a
No,
building.
Oh, you can't get a bandolier.
I'll find a way to do it.
Actually, uh, one thing some people are actually doing is they're mounting helmets, so they pop around the corner and click with the remote detonator, and freaking, it's hilarious. Uh,
I want to see if I can use a
I don't know
drone
what.
for airsoft to record. That would be pretty
Yeah, you
cool.
can.
Because I've
A
used
lot of
drones
fields
for
allow it.
paintball. I've used drones before for paintball. That was pretty cool. Yeah, as long as the fields, most fields probably wouldn't care, but oh, sorry. Let me just turn that part off. My laptop keeps trying to tell me that the script is out or something like that. I need to download Java, and I'm not going to do that right now.
This is not the time and place, computer. Shut up.
Exactly.
Alright. Let's see if there's any new comments. I know we're halfway through the show, and only now I'm checking the comments.
I know, right?
Not so far.
I'm all open for questions as long as they're not like, you know, weird or anything like that.
What's your favorite color?
Well, my favorite color is gray. I don't consider that a weird question, but I mean, there's been times before in paintball where like I've done interviews before, and people will comment on the YouTube videos, you know, like what size shoe do you wear, and it's like I really don't think that has anything to do with playing airsoft or paintball. But anyways, moving on.
Actually, quick random thing about that.
Okay, go ahead.
Respond to that, because for me, it's true. When I play airsoft down in winter, I have no problems because my feet are snowshoes. Size 14.
I wear combat boots. My dad gave me a set when he was a police officer. Like he got like these really cool zip up boots on. They like zip on the side, right? But they still have laces, but they have a side zipper. So I just wear those.
Brings us to the next subject. What is your thought about making?
Yeah, my friend has a pair just like that.
Good.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said, Steven.
What is your thought on, just for basic walk-on games, everybody trying to show up in camouflage? Do you think it's a necessity, or do you think it should just
Well,
people should just come in jeans and a button-up shirt, like I have done it a couple times at the indoor field?
when I go to the indoor field, I actually wear my suit. It's like a persona for me. My character, if you will, for airsoft, I've always imagined it as being like someone from the Matrix. So I wear a suit and tie when I play. I don't have anything against people trying to play in camo necessarily, but they do kind of stand out if they're wearing tree camo, especially in a dark lighting condition, because like if they were to wear like black or maybe like a blue or something like that, it would be kind of hard to see them because of the shadows. But when I see them in like this very vibrant, you know, tree camo, then it's like I can still see you, you know, like like half the field away. But I mean, I guess it's really a matter of personal preference. I don't really like to wear BDUs or any sort of military or tactical gear. I don't have anything against that style. It's just for me, for my persona, my character, if you will, I like to look a certain way.
Yeah. I know with Florida, his fields pretty much are mandatory for you to wear BDUs, right, Florida?
That's what he was saying. I mean, I have some black
Yeah, you
proper.
have to. It's like
Good. I have some black proper BDUs.
oh,
I
we
mean,
got some proper stuff.
I have some.
I
I
was
have a
saying that
few
our
sets.
field.
Good. Talk, Anthony. Talk.
Talk, damn it. He's not talking, so I'm pull a string.
Well, no, it's like. Can you hear? Can you?
You're kind of fading in and out, buddy. Your mic is doing
Hello.
that whole robot thing. We can hear you now.
Hello.
Can you hear us? I don't know if you
I
can
can
hear me.
hear you fine.
Oh, okay. Let's see, who's trying to text me? Can you hear me? Yes, I can hear you. You sent that through Skype. um, yeah, I can hear
I'm
you.
in the shed, so I have bad internet.
You're in the shed.
Yes,
Yeah,
it was being bad today, so
it's a
yeah.
long story.
I, I don't even want to ask. Let's go on to the next
Too
question.
spicy.
Yeah.
But
Okay. It's not
Actually,
a tool. It's like
right,
400 square feet.
that's nice to know. Anyways, I do have a
but
few
yeah,
sets of
actually,
BDUs. In the event I do ever have to use them, I guess I'll bring them to the field with me. Like from what Anthony was telling me last night, most fields kind of like are sort of milsim. Even for the indoor fields, they're kind of milsim, so I would have to use BDUs, which I'm fine with. It's just I don't know.
yeah,
It's gonna kind of mess up my whole character thing. So
it, with me, I just trying to go with something a bit different. Like when I first started
yeah,
playing Airsoft a little over a year ago, I was using hunting camouflage, and
which
No,
I
that
guess
stuff
well,
works.
yeah, I guess that would work.
especially since when I started it was more towards the end of the year, so all the trees were, naked, no leaves or anything. So just sit up against a tree, just hey, you can't see me.
Right.
And now with my team, we're
No,
using
I
six
really.
pattern desert camo, aka Choco Chip.
That's the exact same pattern I got for my team for Team VTAC. It looks literally like chocolate chip ice cream. The best way I can describe it. It's what it looks like to me, anyways. I compare everything to candy. Is in the buttstock of my G&G, I keep Smarties in the battery compartment. Okay, like there's two battery compartments, right? There's this one that's on the stock. It's a spring loaded little like fixture on the stock.
Mhm.
And I keep some candy in there just in case I get hungry when I'm playing. I got to keep my fat kid on. And I guess maybe you could put a small battery, like some double A's or something like that, into it. But I
Yeah,
put candy in there, and some like gotta put some Smarties or maybe some Tootsie Rolls or something like that in there.
Bigly Chew.
Yeah, exactly.
Pull a freaking Duke Nukem. It's time to kick some ass and chew some bubblegum.
Yeah.
But I'm all out of bubblegum. Did you check the stock? Oh, so, but
But I love that there's no mess in airsoft. Of course, in
mhm.
paintball, obviously there was paintball goo everywhere. But I love the fact that there's no mess. I don't have to come home or go in my car seat all coated in that god awful paint that you can never really get out of. Once it kind of stains the clothes, it's pretty much just it. It's ruined. But it's like I don't have to worry about that with airsoft. I have encountered with I can't remember the brand of the BBs, but there was this one brand of BBs that I was shot with that had a little bit of chalk on them. It seemed like they had a little bit of chalk on the BB itself,
uh,
probably to identify people get hit, but that wasn't really that big of a deal.
uh, yeah, actually, people been trying to work on paintball BBs, and I'm over here
Oh
thinking,
no, please no.
this
I
is
just gotta. Yeah,
this is airsoft, not paintball. Knock it off. Before it
thank you.
sounds silly.
Well, and if one of those was to burst inside the gun, that would probably ruin the internals. I mean, I'm
Ooh.
no expert, but that just sounds like a bad idea in
Mm,
general because airsoft guns are meant to shoot plastic projectiles, not water balloon projectiles.
exactly.
If that's the case, we might as well just start playing paintball again.
Exactly. It just leave airsoft with plastic
Airsoft, yeah.
BBs. Maybe some chalk marker units every now and again, fine, but don't make it as a mandatory thing.
Right.
So it's just people are trying to merge the two sports. I don't mind it on some cases, like how it is with Titman and Vulcan and a few other. I don't mind that kind of thing, but when they start actually implementing things from paintball and airsoft, that's when I start to get a little bit annoyed.
Right, it's understandable.
But oh, I had a really good question, but I lost it. Dang it. Man.
Were there any questions in the comment section?
Not that I saw, but let me
Okay.
refresh the page again. So, but actually, I do have one question.
Good.
Sponsorship-wise, is it more difficult to get a sponsorship in Airsoft or more difficult to get a sponsorship in paintball? Or is it about the same?
Well, with me going from paintball to airsoft, I was able to just transition over what I had already existing. So I have yet to be able to experience trying to get an airsoft sponsorship, so I can't probably answer that thoroughly, but I can say it is hard to get sponsored in paintball, at least at the level I was at, because it takes years and years and years of dedication and hard work to get there. And that's a lot of things that most of the younger players in paintball are not willing to commit to, is the patience that it takes to get sponsored. Companies aren't just going to go out and give people, $3,000 worth of paintball gear unless they can somehow get that money back in return, whether it be through like a social media or some sort of marketing. Um, and I think the same probably to be said with airsoft. The company has to be able to generate that cost back.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, the general standard, it differs from company to company, but the generic standard is, I think it's like a little over 100 subs on YouTube or more. Um, and this is not for the really high-end, very wealthy sponsors like
Yeah,
KWA and Elite Force, but the guys that just do airsoft just as another thing to do. But a little over 100 sponsors and about 300 followers on social media or something like that, or vice versa.
right.
And being very consistent with your videos. Like with me on my channel, I post a video at least once a week, and I try to keep it towards one end of the week or another.
Right.
Videos.
What was that, Florida?
Said I need to get on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you haven't posted a video other than NAB in what, a little over a month now, 2 months?
Yeah. Well, my camera and my phone broke, so I'm kind of.
Ah,
It's no bueno. Well,
Yeah.
Florida, if it makes you feel any better, with this new internet provider of mine, it takes me 5 hours to upload freaking a 7-minute video.
oh my
Gee.
gosh.
Yeah, I saw
Jesus.
your video.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say this now, even though I already said this in the announcement video I posted up earlier today. I've already got some things pre-filmed, and whatever I already have pre-filmed, that's it. It's going to be the NAB live show, maybe a few announcements, and then those set videos. I'm not recording anything else until I can get this internet improved in some way, shape, or
Yeah,
form.
yeah, that's completely understandable.
So,
Is it Bright
I think I
House?
just hit 32. What?
Is it Bright House?
Bright House? No, it's AT&T.
Bright House is terrible. Don't ever get Bright House.
Don't get AT&T. Freaking, I'm getting a half a megabit a second upload.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Verizon's the way to go, in my opinion.
If you can get FiOS. If you can't get FiOS, then you're kind of screwed.
Yeah. Or that Google internet that just came out. I think it was really good.
Google Fiber, yeah, I want to get that, but it's been crashing people's computers because it's just too fast. Freaking, I'm loving it though now how companies are actually trying to step up to the plate with internet speed now, and I think it's going to make a lot of us YouTubers have a much easier time getting things done. Because before, when I was with Comcast, I was getting about 10 or 11 megabits a second upload on a decent day, and I just upload videos like that. But now, yeah, I can see where other YouTubers are starting to go. Making these videos aren't as easy as you think. It takes a lot of time.
Yes, it does. And a lot of time.
You're probably spending 5 hours trying to upload a
Yep.
480 video,
Yep.
and that's without fancy editing.
Exactly.
So, yeah, it's just Honestly, I'd probably be better to go down to the McDonald's, use my phone, put the video on my phone, and try to upload it from there.
I've had to do that before. I've had to do that before.
Because the internet is just so.
Well, it's good when my three roommates aren't trying to like use it for gaming, but when they get on their Xboxes and their PS4s, then it's like I can just see the internet signal just and I don't want to burn up my
Internet, man, it's
phone's
brutal.
I don't want to burn up my phone's cellular data, but I've had to in the past use my cell phone to upload videos. But my car too, my 2010 Dodge Caliber, it's like a crossover SUV. It came equipped with 4G, so I can upload. Like right now, I'm using my car's Wi-Fi. Sorry, I had to clear my throat. I'm using my car's Wi-Fi. I'm not using the Starbucks Wi-Fi because like
Anymore.
it already came with my car.
Yeah. Just honestly, I wish there was a secondary internet services that allows you to just do uploading stuff. Okay, pay $10 a month, we'll give you a 15 or 20 megabytes a second upload speed, and there you go.
Right.
It's actually a
And
really good idea.
yeah, but just trying to get upload speed itself, that's going to be the bigger pain. Uh, and also just trying to get people, not people, but towers and stuff like that to actually get the services up and going. So, but I just remembered something else. But it's up to you guys. Do you guys want to move off the internet thing or not?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I guess if you want to, yeah.
So, over the weekend, while I was playing Airsoft at Fear City, I came up with the most brilliant idea for the next big thing in Airsoft.
What's that?
Imagine you're taking a cruise down the coastline of the U.S. You know, taking a nice cruise. Up on the top deck, you got water slides and the pools and whatever not. And then in the deck below, you got a massive indoor airsoft field.
That's usually a
That would be
really
pretty
good
nice.
idea.
Yeah, yeah, that would be pretty nice.
Freaking, we
That'd
got
be really
hockey
cool.
rings. Why not have an airsoft field?
Think about it. The parents will drop their kids off there and go to the spa or whatever.
Exactly. Can you imagine hosting Milsim games there? You can do freaking pirating recreations there.
During like a really bad storm too, so the ship's rocking and everyone's like down there like stumbling on their feet trying to shoot each other.
Can you imagine trying to throw a thunder beat to one side of the ship to the other, and all suddenly the ship
Yeah,
tips and it goes back?
comes back on me.
Well,
I got this guy. Kick it like as if it's a soccer ball.
Yeah, really.
All he hears, goal! So, but honestly, I do think it would be a good idea, and it wouldn't cost much more than a freaking regular cruise liner ticket for one or two people. So,
yeah, I think the only problem would be the insurance.
Yeah, the insurance would be pretty expensive, especially with them being in international waters.
well, if
Yeah.
you ride along the U.S. coastline, it shouldn't.
Well, then, yeah, it shouldn't be that big of an issue. Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, the insurance shouldn't be too bad.
Well, that's a good
Especially
idea,
considering the
though.
fact that it's an
Yeah.
indoor arena, there's no chance of people, running like hell and then falling off the deck.
That would
I
actually
got
be
this,
pretty
I
funny.
got
That would be pretty funny, actually. I would pay money to see that.
I got this, I got this. Kadoosh. There goes Dave. Son of a bitch.
That would be pretty funny.
I would feel bad, but no, all of a sudden you just see the people on the back of the boat with their fishing lines out, just, what the hell is that guy doing? Hey, you're scaring away the fish! So, but yeah, it's just, like I said, under the main deck, that'd be the perfect area for an airsoft event. Let me mute my mic, there's no car on.
Yeah, there might be a car alarm
And
going off.
another,
I was about to say. There was a guy that was just clicking his car right next to me. But yeah, I didn't leave paintball on any sort of bad terms. Although there were these like internet trolls that for whatever reason you'll be amazed if this doesn't get flooded with a bunch of internet trolls. But there was this rumor going around that I was banned from playing paintball, that I got banned from the PSP and from APPA. And my boss and I were looking at all these emails, and I was like, I'd like to know when I was ever banned. And of course, we called the companies just to verify, and they're like, no, you were never banned. We have no reason to ban you. So we had to make that as like a public statement. Oh, Jake Thomas was never banned from the sport. And I don't know why. Internet trolls seem to. It's like, I don't know. And in paintball, I haven't yet to experience it in Airsoft, and I'm pretty sure it's there. But in paintball, there's just a lot of really trashy, unprofessional people, and I'll go on record for that. It's like in Airsoft, though, I've yet to encounter. I did encounter one field owner. I'm not going to say who it was, but I told Anthony the story, and I'll tell you when we're not live. But I did have to call the police on one field owner for abusing a child at an Airsoft arena. But
dang,
that was just that one-time thing. I have yet to encounter anyone in Airsoft that's been mean or rude or trolling or anything like that. In paintball, though, it was like no tomorrow.
yeah. It, Actually, that's an interesting thing about airsoft. I hear about people in different areas of the U.S. playing paintball, and it's about the same personalities. But with airsoft, when you change different regions, it's completely different personalities, completely different play styles. You go
Right.
out to the West Coast, and specifically in like the California, Arizona area, um, people run a lot faster, and their attitudes towards other people are completely different than, let's say, people from Florida or Georgia or Illinois. It's just
Right.
it. That's actually one thing I love about airsoft. It's just meeting these different personalities.
Yeah, I think.
You think?
Oh, I thought you guys were. I thought I skipped or something. I think especially down here in our field, or there's only like 50 people that go there. Everyone that there is always nice to each other. We share gear and guns and knowledge and
Yeah.
stories, and no one ever yells at each other. I think it's just it's a very nice environment to be in, and I really do love it.
Mm,
Yeah, I will have
yeah.
to say Airsoft is a more positive, family-oriented environment. And that's not to try to bash paintball, but paintball is not a family-oriented sport. I'll go on record and I'll say that, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to get hate mail, but I really don't care at this point. I'm out of the sport. But
Paintball is definitely. Go ahead.
Airsoft is so much more family oriented. It's so much more appropriate for children. The marketing is not overly sexualized like it is in paintball. The marketing is professional. The marketing actually focuses on the product, not the girl holding it. Now, Valken and I never had any
I
sort
will.
of bad or nasty marketing like that, but there's been other companies before in the past, smart parts, that would use a lot of sexual marketing, and it's like there was really no place for that because this marketing was really meant for children, but it was like they were making it very adult themed and very adult oriented. And at the end of the day, children are playing the sport because it's like, and I think this can be translated in airsoft too. The younger players are the lifeblood of the sport. Eventually, because I've already left paintball, someone else has already taken my place. A younger, better, faster player. It's going to be the same thing in airsoft. Eventually, 10, 12 years from now in airsoft, I'm going to quit and I'll have to retire. Some younger player is going to have to take my place, and we have to protect the youth of the sport. And that's what I always stressed about with paintball, is that the youth had to be protected, especially in airsoft now, because I'm very diligent about making sure that I don't usually talk to underage fans, if you will. Not that it's like, it's just more so a liability thing because like if they try to ask me for like advice with me being an adult and with them being a minor, that could be kind of one of those like their parents might get mad or something like that. But I always try to make sure that the youth are protected in the sport, in paintball and also in airsoft, because I don't want to see youth ever harmed or anything like that. Um, and there were a few instances in paintball where I've had to, like, in the past, where I've had to call the police on field owners for being rude to children and stuff like that, and yelling at children. And so it's like I hope I don't have any sort of issues like that in airsoft.
Yeah, I completely agree with the whole entire atmosphere type thing. I've been to both airsoft paintball fields that are combined together, and they host both kind of games. And one thing I will say, and I can't defend everybody, but I can defend some of the people here in Illinois. We're walking through, and all we hear is a bunch of paintballers go, "F airsoft, airsoft fucking
Yeah,
sucks,"
yeah,
and
yeah,
and we're over here just going, we're over here just playing a game, guys. Chill,
yeah,
chillax a little.
exactly.
Grow up.
Well, and at
Exactly.
the end of the day, that's what airsoft is. It's just a game. It's for fun. It's hobby. It's stress relief. But it's just a game. It's like playing Xbox. It
Yeah.
really should not be such a serious, overdrawn, dramatic production like some people will make it out to be. But like you were saying though, there's, for whatever reason in paintball, there's like this hatred towards airsoft in the industry. I don't know why. It would, or within the players, like there's this hatred towards airsoft players, and I was never biased towards airsoft players when I would play paintball. I never met any, but I didn't have anything against the sport, because the way I view any sport is, as long as it's keeping youth off of drugs or out of the streets or out of jail, keeps them from committing crimes, I don't really care what the sport is. It could be competitive gum chewing if it's keeping youth out of trouble. And airsoft is a respectable sport. It keeps youth grounded, and it keeps them focused, and it keeps them out of trouble. I don't consider it a violent sport. I don't consider it like the kind of sport, like I think with everything, the media tries to make paintball to look violent, and now they're trying to target airsoft because there was an incident not too long ago where some kid at a park, I don't remember where it was exactly, so correct me if I'm wrong, but there was this like little kid at a park that was playing with his
Might
airsoft gun, and it did not have the orange tip on it. And when the police told him to put it down, he like tried pulling it out of his pants, so they shot him. That
Yeah, that's
kind of
just
makes airsoft look bad. That makes airsoft look bad because it makes it look like, I mean, as we all know, airsoft guns by law have to come with an orange tip. So if you spray paint over that tip or you take off the tip, you're intentionally, and I've done it with my guns, but you're at that point, you're intentionally trying to make it look like a real firearm. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but at the same time, there has to be standards and consequences. If a police officer tells you to put down the gun, don't point it at him.
yeah.
I mean, it really shouldn't take a
pin
rocket
it
scientist to figure
down.
that out.
And they're
Don't point the,
blaming.
because most of the airsoft guns do look very
Example,
realistic.
I have. Mm-hmm.
That's
Especially
something I'll,
the full metal ones.
yeah, that's something I'll give the airsoft companies. They go out of their way to make
Uh,
sure that they look realistic.
but like with me, for example, I have two M4s,
Are you guys there? I thought you were
massive
fading in and
freaking.
out. Oh, good.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, and what I
Yeah.
do is I take, electrical tape and I put it over some of the flash hider, but I leave some of it open so it's still clear. Hey,
Yeah,
it's an airsoft gun, but when I'm playing, I'm more concealed and take some sort of responsibility to make sure I'm being safe. And that's something I
right.
want everyone to take on. If you're going to remove the orange tip, take off some of it, not all of it.
Well,
I'm gonna turn my.
go ahead.
I was just gonna turn on my camera real quick to show you my AR and what I did to it with the orange tip.
Okay, go ahead. If I had my
Alright,
equipment with me,
that's
I would
what
turn
that.
on my camera, but I left my equipment at home.
Alright, can you guys see me?
Let's get it.
Yeah, I can see you.
Yeah, it's very blurry, but
Okay.
Very blurry.
Well, yeah, it's not. I don't have that great lighting, but see, I replaced the orange tip with my silencer, but I treat this like a real out case. I don't play with it unless I'm at the field. You know,
Yeah.
to me, this is a real firearm. It's full metal, no orange tip. It looks exactly like a real gun. That's why I wanted to buy it.
Yeah, it
That is a nice
with
AR,
me.
by the way. I liked it.
mm, Yeah, it is.
And it's almost like a real firearm, and that's what.
But like with me, I bought a parts Elite Force 1911. Everything is still there. It's just not all of it works. So just in case of my actual 1911 from Elite Force goes down, I have some parts. But when I bought it, it didn't have the orange tip. So what I did is I actually made my own orange tip. I put a whole bunch of green tape all over it, and I have that sucker freaking stored away freaking so far deep in my room I don't even remember where it is. And
Right.
to cover my own side, because it doesn't have an orange tip.
Well, when I asked now in the state of Georgia, when I asked my police officer buddy Corey about it, if you're transporting, if I, like, let's pretend I'm driving to Atlanta right now and I get pulled over and they search my car, as long as I tell them in advance, I have airsoft guns in my car, they're not real guns, then they're not going to freak out and throw me to the ground. But if they were to search my car and then they see he's got, AR-15s back here and a Glock, then they're probably going to throw me to the ground, and until they investigate it, I'm going to be detained until they, obviously after a few minutes of investigating the weapon, they would be able to tell it's not a real weapon. But in the state of Georgia, if you're playing on your own property, you do not have to have the orange tip on your own property. Now, if I was to take that to the public street, I could then get a ticket, or I guess I could go to jail in theory, but that's a bit extreme. But I could get in trouble for taking that gun, which does not have an orange tip, off of my property and putting it onto the public street, because then that would be, to the general public, it looks as if it's a real firearm. Well, in the neighborhood I live in, because it's the college district, I can't even shoot my BB guns in the backyard anyways, because someone would probably call the police. Even though it's college and you hear nothing but partying and music and drinking, during the week when everyone's at school, if I try to shoot my BB gun in the backyard, someone would probably call the police. So I only use my BB guns when I'm either at a friend's house that lives out in the country where his neighbors don't care, or when I'm actually at the field. But I think, like you were saying earlier, people need to understand there's always a time and a place for airsoft guns being showed to their friends. It's not like I'm going to take my gun over to my neighbor's house and wave it around and say, "Look at this new airsoft gun I got." In
It's so
the general
cool.
public, yeah, without any orange tip or anything like that. Yeah, no, that's not a good idea. Someone might call the police
It's
on me.
not. Yeah, with me, for example, I actually made my own like BB holster for when I do test fires the day before I go
Right.
out and play, just to make sure everything works. All I did was take an old shirt that I don't wear anymore, tie off one end, take a shoebox, cut open the side, put the shirt in there, tie it off, and I just shoot in there. I close all the blinds to make sure the neighbors don't go crazy, and I
Right.
just do a couple test fires real quick, empty it out, split the gun in half, and then transport it the next day.
That reminds me of that time Josh and I were shooting his shotgun. He has like this spring action shotgun in his room, right? And he had this mattress set up against the wall so that way the BBs would not go through the wall. But he actually knocked out his window, and his dad got so mad because he knocked out that window with one little BB pellet. It shattered all that glass, and I was like, "Oh my God, we're dead
That's
now."
some bad glass.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think a BB would actually shoot through glass, but it did. Well, and he shot his TV that one time he was messing around with his gun. He was like, "I didn't know it was loaded," and it's like, well, yeah, because everyone that accidentally gets killed with an unloaded firearm, it's like, what an idiot. He should, Josh, I'm going to go on public record on a national broadcast. Josh should not have firearms, not real firearms. He would shoot his own foot off.
Yeah, freaking, we all know someone like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's in school to become a nurse, and I'm like, oh dear God, if I ever was in an emergency room and I saw him as my nurse, I'm jumping out of that bed.
Do not give him the gun to put it away. Give it to
Yeah,
the other guy.
yeah, exactly.
He would shoot me again. Yeah. So, we're actually at the end of the
I
broadcast
think we're
today.
at the end of the broadcast. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll go 5 minutes over just to get announcements
Okay.
over with. So, Florida, Jake, whichever one you guys want to go first, you can go first with announcements.
Um, I guess my announcements will be for on my YouTube channel. I'll I'll go ahead and just say the address: youtube.com/the JPB. Look for this weekend. I'm going to SAS Black Ops, so I'll have some footage available. I'll actually stream it live to my account, and while it's being streamed live, it'll be published, so people will be able to view it there. And then I'm going to go pick up some new gear at Georgia Paintball and Airsoft, some new rifles for the team, and then that's about all the announcements I have for this week coming. What about you, Anthony?
Nothing much for me. Haven't been really, haven't been playing lately, so I got nothing on my end.
All right. I should still have about a month's worth of videos left. Uh, and like I said earlier, if I don't get any better internet, that's pretty much all you guys are gonna get. Uh, I am still taking in people from my team, Chocolate Chip Airsoft team. Yeah. So, if you want to just talk to one of these guys, I'll have links to their YouTube and Facebook if I can find photos. Uh,
I
Yeah,
have
um,
one.
I'm on Twitter too, so I don't mind if anyone watching the show wants to talk to me or anything like that. As long as they're like professional, they don't ask any weird questions.
so
Just a warning there. Just don't ask anything weird. But yeah, I mean, I don't mind talking to people.
so I'll leave all the links in the description by sometime tomorrow because videos are a little strange right after you're done streaming. So,
Yeah.
all right, this was the National Airsoft broadcast. Was it December 9th? Signing off. Bye, everyone.
Thanks guys for having me.